Sup?
Hey there!
What happened to your legs?
Lazy animator!
So, what's with the new look?
What do you mean?
Well...
Oh, you mean the mustache?
Yeah, that's what I meant. So, anyway, we're doing our maths presentation on the history of calculators.
Woo! Calculators, yeah!
You see what you stuck me with, Susan? Okay, let's begin.
Before the Chinese invented the abacus, people still performed calculations, but using a much simpler method using their fingers and toes to calculate sums and subtractions. However, people still used objects to denote the number of something. This also allowed for accurate record keeping, so that everyone could keep track of whether they produced as much grain as last year. I don't know why the Chinese felt the need for an abacus though, since all Asians are good at maths anyway. John Napier was an eccentric mathematician and inventor. He proposed several military applications, such as destroying enemy warships with huge mirrors, following Archimedes' footsteps, and suggested a special type of artillery that obliterated everything within a 4-mile radius. Napier's bones was also a major development in the history of calculators. While it still did not use a physical mechanism to compute calculations like mechanical calculators, it was still fundamental to simplifying complex multiplications and divisions. The reason his method was called Napier's bones is because he was a psycho-mofo and built his tables using actual bones.
In 1614, John Napier invented the logarithm, which made it possible to perform multiplications and divisions by addition and subtraction. You will probably recognise these two log laws. A slide rule is comprised of 3 main sections: the upper and lower body, the slide, and the cursor. To use a slide rule, you move the centre slider and the cursor and read from the appropriate scales. Even though the general concept for the slide rule was thought of a long time ago, and many mechanical calculators and more recently electronic calculators have been made, slide rules were still being used when our parents were in school. They did their job well and were inexpensive to buy.
Comptometer. The comptometer was the first mechanical calculator and was patented by an American named Dorr Eugene Felt in 1887. It was key-driven, allowing more than one key to be pressed at once, making calculations much faster. However, it was only faster in the hands of trained professionals who actually preferred them to the electronic calculators once they were released, since electronic calculators can only be used by pressing one key at a time. The comptometer was instrumental in fueling the Industrial Revolution, as it allowed businesses to keep track of their huge records of profits and losses. Electronic calculators. Electronic calculators were the next step from electromechanical calculators, and they changed the face of the world, because they allowed people to move away from those chunky-ass desktop mechanical calculators. These new calculators were fully electronic and were originally made up of dozens of vacuum tubes. Then, in 1964, Sony released the first all-transistor calculator with a fluorescent display. Advances in technology resulted in the development of printed tape displays in the 1970s. However, 1980 marked the end of non-LCD calculators. Calculators were also far more expensive around this time. I recall Kevin saying that he bought his first car for $70, and his first scientific calculator shortly after that for $75.
So why do we need calculators? Calculators are a significant invention for human society, where efficiency is defined by speed and accuracy. While the human brain is an unbelievably powerful biological computer, humans are limited to a fickle concept known as attention span. They let people focus on many tasks at once, while allowing the calculator to accurately complete the maths required for a larger task with complete accuracy, which allows us to focus on other things.
Holy shit, 9 times 24 is 216.
Well, there you have it. That's pretty much us finished then.
Calculators, 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 calculators! I love calculators! Hell yeah!
Can't take it anymore!
Calculators!